So if we go and take a look in hosts and clusters at the cluster, we have the updates tab here. We scroll down to the bottom, we can see the baselines here, and we can see that neither of them are compliant. Now at this point, you can tick the baselines that you want to remediate, and you can either stage, which will copy the patch to the host but not actually install it, or you can remediate, which will copy the patch if it hasn't already been staged and then complete the installation. The stage feature can be useful if you've got a number of hosts that you're going to be updating in a maintenance window and you want to reduce the length of that maintenance window by having the patches copied to the host ahead of that window. I'm not going to remediate straight away at this point though, because there is a quirk of a 2-node cluster where HA is enabled. In most clusters, when you select remediate, the vSphere Lifecycle Manager will select one of those hosts to start with. It will place it into maintenance mode. DRS, assuming it's enabled, will then migrate all of the virtual machines to another host. The host can then enter maintenance mode and patching begins. It then brings the host back out of maintenance mode and chooses another one, puts that one into maintenance mode, and it moves it round like musical chairs. However, in a 2-node cluster, and this is buried in the vSphere Lifecycle Manager documentation, it often fails to put the hosts into maintenance mode. Now, unfortunately, the documentation is a bit vague about this. My inference is that HA uses an algorithm to decide which of the hosts it is going to place into maintenance mode first, and when there are only 2 hosts, that algorithm has a tendency to result in a deadlock condition where it can't choose between the 2. And the solution is you need to turn off HA. So I'm just going to go and do that. So configure, vSphere availability, edit. And I'm going to disable vSphere HA entirely. Then I'll go back to the updates tab, select remediate, click on remediate. We can see we have 2 hosts that we're going to remediate. There are 3 patches missing from those hosts, and if we scroll across we can see that they both require a reboot and maintenance mode. Scheduling options, we can schedule it to run later. I'm just going to leave it to run immediately. Remediation settings, these are the same settings that we saw in the vSphere Lifecycle Management section of the vSphere client. So we set effectively the defaults in that main configuration, and we can now override those on a one-off basis if we wish. We're going to leave these as they are, however, and we're going to say remediate. I will now watch briefly as the remediation takes place. So we should see one of the hosts will enter maintenance mode. It will start to move its virtual machines, there we go, onto the other host. It will then update that host, take it out of maintenance mode, move the VMs across again, and update the other one. Of course, I've drastically sped up this sequence to be around about 1 minute in length. In reality, it actually took around about 8.5 minutes to complete. And now both hosts have been remediated and are back into service, and the virtual machines are being rebalanced by DRS. Of course, the last thing I want to do is re-enable vSphere HA. To edit, enable HA, and OK. And there we go. Our cluster is fully up to date and HA has been re-enabled.